Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in the news about the murder of a quote-unquote anti-fascist musician, rapper, whatever, and and there's a great outrage about this, and I'm wondering. I look at this and I go, well, to an extent, not only say Le Gray, not only is it war, but it's the aggressors in this instance. Let's say you had a country, right, and these people, we'll call them the Shinto. You have the Shinto people, and then there's this group of people who live in Shinto land, and they're anti-bigotry, they're anti-racism, anti-xenophobia, anti, whatever, and they're definitely anti-Shinto identity. Right? And so they say, well, let's bring in some Chinese, let's bring in some Filipinos, let's bring in some Russians to the Shinto area, and they keep calling for more and more and more and more, and they call for the Shinto to not not make the Russian Shinto, but to accept them, going into a multicultural mode, right? And of course, what's the result of this? Well, the result of this is that the Russians, they have their home country, Russia, plus influence in Shinto land. The Chinese, they have their home country, China, plus influence in Shinto land. The Filipinos, they have their home country, the Philippines, plus influence in Shinto land. What do the Shinto people have? Well, they have Shinto land, but less and less control of it. More and more of their lives are being dictated by Russians, Chinese, and Filipinos, right? Basically, the Russians, the Chinese, and the Filipinos are coming into Shinto land and slowly taking over, right? And the Shinto land are becoming slowly dispossessed. The Antifa have various rallies, and their rallies, it's not against the Russians, the Chinese, and the Filipinos, it's against the Shinto. Right? It is against the Shinto and against Shinto bigotry. Racism means Shinto supremacy. Okay, and they gloat. They gloat at the fact that the Shinto will no longer be a majority in their traditional lands, and that they will in fact have no majority lands. And this is considered to be a great thing that will bring a great peace to the world, and it's part of moving forward into the world. Now, would we say that these people who advocate the bringing in of Russians, Chinese, and Filipinos into Shinto land, would we say that these people are anti-Shinto? Well, it's plainly obvious that they are, right? And the reason it's plainly obvious that they are to anyone is because they're not clouded by the mystery of racism when you analyze that situation, okay? But the mystery of racism says white people bad, right? I mean that's that's a simple oversimplification, I know, but generally speaking, that's largely what it is. And so when you see the same thing happening to a country like Sweden, right, bringing Somalis into Sweden, bringing Arabs into Sweden, to where Swedes will become a minority, and then the anti-fascists, quote unquote, they gloat because the white racist Swedes will no longer be able to oppress the Somali, or whatever it is they think's going on, right? They have celebrations of Swedes no longer having a country for themselves. The Somalis still have Somalia. The Arabs still have Saudi Arabia or wherever else they're from. They still have those countries. But Swedes no longer have, right, Sweden. Right? And that's what's happening in Greece. Right? You have Algerians, Tunisians, Libyans, Egyptians, to some extent Turks. But basically you have all these groups coming into Greece, taking over regions. And what would we say that these are? Well, when Greece invaded modern-day Sicily and set up Greek colonies, these were majority Greek enclaves. They were called colonies, right? When Germany invaded East Africa and set up German-only regions, those were called German colonies, right? And when the Libyans go into Greece and they have Libyan-only areas, Tunisian-only areas, or broadly speaking, combined North African areas, what would we call those? I think we would call those what they are, or we should call those what they are, which is colonies, right? It is the colonization of Greece. And so what you have is you have an indigenous Greek movement, right? The Golden Dawn that says, we want our own land, like Greece for Greece, right? Whereas Antifa says, no, Greece not for Greece. Greece for Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, and Egypt. That an Egyptian has, obviously they have Egypt, plus they have influence over Greece. Libyans have Libya, plus influence over Greece. Tunisians have Tunisia, plus influence over Greece. Algerians have Algeria, plus influence over Greece. And this is what the quote-unquote anti-fascists advocate. This is what they are for. This is what drives the anti-fascists, quote-unquote, that what they call themselves. This is what drives them. Their driving desire is for less Greek autonomy, less Greek control over their traditional lands, and increased Libyan and Egyptian, and basically increased foreign control over Greek lands. Right? Let me say that again in a really simplified way. The Golden Dawn is for Greek control over historically Greek lands. Anti-fascist action, their position is non-Greek control over historically Greek lands. Okay, that's what it is. The anti-fascists are fanatics. They are warriors. They battle for non-Greeks in Greece. Whereas the Golden Dawn, they battle for Greeks in Greece. That's all it is. All right. And so in this way, and so what I want to say here is that it is a very good thing when anti-fascist people are killed, right? Because that is an act of self-defense, right? That is an act of combating an invader, which, you know, these anti-fascist people, they can claim to be Greek or whatever, but once you join an internationalist anarchist movement, you're not anything. You're not. I mean, once you disown the national identity, you're no longer Greek, right? Or you're no longer German. You're no longer Italian. You're no longer any of that. You've thrown that aside, and you are a citizen of the world. Okay, and so you're basically a stateless person, and you're invading Greece at that point, in collaboration with the Libyan, Egyptian, Tunisian, Algerian, other African racial groups. Those nations that are coming into Greece trying to slowly, piecemeal, devour Greece, one little bite at a time. All right? And so that is why it is good, it is a good thing to kill anti-fascist, quote-unquote, people, while it is a crime, it is an act of utmost aggression to kill a member of the Golden Dawn.